What up, people? Crack Lemonade here, and today we are playing another wrestling game that is not SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, but it is the SmackDown game that came before SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, and that is SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. And at some point, I will actually probably make a proper video on SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. I know, it is weird to just look at a video of SmackDown Here Comes the Pain footage where I talk about a modern WWE storyline, but I stand by that because, one, I felt like talking about the bloodline, and two, I already had that footage, and if I wasn't going to use that footage for that video, I don't think I would have ever used that footage. So I just kind of stand by that decision. One day in the future, I have no idea when, I will probably go back and play SmackDown Here Comes the Pain and talk about that. Now, SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, I think, doesn't get enough recognition. Now, when I say that, you have SmackDown Just Bring It, and then you have SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. SmackDown Just Bring It is big because that was the first PlayStation 2 game of the SmackDown series. And Shut Your Mouth is kind of the middle child. It doesn't get talked about a lot, in my opinion. A lot of people focus on SmackDown Here Comes the Pain because that was the peak of the SmackDown series. And you have this game before it. And for the cutscenes, I kind of sped all of the cutscenes up because I was looking at this footage and it is very slow on the real game. So this is the first year of the WWF draft in terms of this game. This is after the Invasion storyline. This is during the period I stopped watching wrestling. I pretty much stopped after the Invasion storyline because, in my opinion, that storyline wasn't good. It didn't make WWE look good. It didn't make WCW look good. And it didn't make ECW look good. I was not aware of... I was aware of ECW, but I did not watch ECW. I was a WCW person, and then I was a WWF person. So, bringing in these ECW people and making WCW and ECW the bad guys in a storyline wasn't the greatest thing. But around that time, around the original WCW merger, there were segments on SmackDown where they would cut to commercial break. It'd be like the SmackDown ring skirt, the SmackDown layout and all that, and you would cut from the commercial. It would have a WCW referee, it would have the WCW ring skirts, and it would say WCW on the Titantron when people came out, and they would be like one-on-one matches early, and this is before the Invasion storyline. The reason I bring that up is because at some point it seemed like they were trying to do what they're doing now with NXT for WCW, where they were giving the WCW people an entire segment. And I even think that the commentary team even changed with those WCW matches. But I would actually have to go back and rewatch some of those to really confirm that. This is literally after I stopped watching. I don't know anything about Ric Flair being the general manager of Raw, or Vince McMahon being the general manager of SmackDown. I definitely was not watching. I was still playing the games. I had this when it came out, and I thought it was fun, but playing this game did not make me want to watch the product more. And that goes the same for when I got SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. I got it back when it came out, but I was not actively watching WWE. I was really just buying the game because I enjoyed the game. I really do enjoy SmackDown Shut Your Mouth for the fact that it allowed you to roam around backstage. Again, this part is sped up because I did not know what I was doing, so I was just kind of trying to see if I could find a superstar backstage. This also existed in SmackDown Just Bring It. The difference is in Just Bring It, your first person backstage walk-arounds were timed, and there were certain people you could find backstage to unlock them, like the Hurricane and Spike Dudley, but you had to go to certain areas backstage to find them. And once again, it was timed, as opposed to this one where it is unlimited time. You can go outside the arena. I believe you can even take the subway to WWE New York, no matter what show you're at. And again, I don't know. They added so much from Just Bring It. And in my opinion, I don't really think that it is recognized enough. One thing that I definitely love about SmackDown Shut Your Mouth 2 is when you complete the season mode and you watch the end credits. It might be weird for me to say I love the end credits of a video game, but when Marilyn Manson's song The Beautiful People comes on and they have the videos on screen, you get to see a lot of, I guess, development things where there are like 4 Goldusts in the ring wearing different costumes, and there are a lot of just video clips that happen during the end credits of this game. And maybe I might finish the story mode on this one and record that, but I don't have a plan to do that right now. Anyway, I just enjoy this game. And playing through ECW Hardcore Revolution altered my opinion on my approach on even talking about these games, because that game wasn't something I enjoyed, even though it was fundamentally the same thing as WWF Attitude, a game that I'm relatively fond of. So, in my overall thinking about these games, I don't really think about which game is better. I know a lot of people will say, oh, Aki Engine wrestling games are great. And some people will say, I really love early THQ. And some people will even say, I didn't really like what they did with the SmackDown versus Raw series. All of those are really valid opinions, and all of them have space for conversation. And at the end of it, there really isn't a perfect wrestling game. Now, I prefer the SmackDown games because they're faster. They have a little bit more of an arcadey feel to them. And some people might not like that the SmackDown games are fast. Some people like WWF No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000 because they are more simulation type matches. And that's cool. My opinion is sometimes those matches are too slow, especially when you're doing a Royal Rumble and you're doing it in the story mode and you're playing for 30 minutes and you get eliminated. I did not enjoy that about playing No Mercy again. That's just me. There are people that do enjoy that do enjoy the challenges that were brought with bringing a wrestling game to the Nintendo 64. Some people might look at the GameCube wrestling games favorably, and we might get to those one day. I will not focus on wrestling games video-wise completely. That's just not something I want to do. But I do eventually plan on going through more of these wrestling titles, as I do have playthroughs and my feelings about the games change, and I can reflect on the time period that these games represent. Because to me, it really is about the time period. Playing this game made me realize that there isn't a WWF game or WWE game that even covers the invasion angle. You have SmackDown Just Bring It, which is literally like 2001 SmackDown. And then you have SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, which literally takes place after the invasion storyline, during the first brand split, and you have just that period of time lost. All of the ones who participated during the invasion storyline, only the wrestlers that survived the invasion storyline and made it to this point where there was a brand split, made it to this game. And I don't know the whole roster at this period of time, so I don't even know who actually didn't make it in the game. These are my thoughts, and I really just enjoy SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. I think that it really shouldn't be overlooked for Here Comes the Pain, because Here Comes the Pain is good, and SmackDown Shut Your Mouth is also good, and each of them have their unique differences. You don't get to roam around backstage in SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. They removed that. Don't know why they removed it, but they did. It's something that I don't want to take for granted, that in SmackDown 2, SmackDown Just Bring It, and SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, you had so much space to wander backstage. And for years during the SmackDown versus Raw era, there was seemingly a lot of backstage areas taken out for a very long time. And I have not played WWE 2K24. I don't plan on getting it. I do think that 2K24 is the best that wrestling games have been. However, I don't like the season pass model, and I really don't like the built-in obsolescence of the servers. I like the wrestling games of the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 era where you can just plug it in and play. PlayStation 3 did have DLC, but you really weren't missing much without the DLC. And maybe that could also be said of 2K24 or any of the modern 2K games. It's just the fact that they're really quickly churned out, and season passes cost money, and individual packs cost more. So, I don't know. I don't think about getting the newer 2K games. I don't want anybody to watch these videos and be like, oh yeah, no, Crack Lemonade said that the 2K games are bad. Hey, if you enjoy the 2K games and you don't mind paying for the season passes and all that stuff, go for it. Who am I to stop you? And, you know, if I don't enjoy a certain game on a certain system, that doesn't mean it's bad either. It's just my opinion. Either way, this has been Crack Lemonade. This was Smackdown Shut Your Mouth. And I will be back at some time with another game. Probably the same system. Maybe not. No guarantees. Peace out.